Welcome in now David Tafuri, former Obama campaign foreign policy advisor. Mr. Tafuri, all right, do what the ambassador told us to do and do what the ambassador told us to do and draw your own conclusion. Is Russia committing war crimes?
Sure. I've been talking about this for the last 10 days to 2 weeks, that I expected that Putin would be accused of war crimes. Let's start with the fact that he ordered the invasion of Ukraine. There was no legal basis to do so. It was violative of international law. He had no rationale. He can't argue that there was any self-defense excuse. In fact, the U.S. did a very good job of pointing out before he invaded that he was likely to invade, and they had no legal basis for doing so. And then you look at what's happened during this war so far, and again, it's only been a little over 2 weeks, but we already have many reports of civilians being targeted and killed. The shelling has been indiscriminate. Russia has made no effort to avoid hitting areas with civilians. It's hit hospitals, it's hit orphanages, it's hit schools, it's killed women and children and other non-combatants. That is the hallmark of a war crime, a crime against humanity, arguably also an attempt at genocide against the Ukrainian people, who he denies are even a separate people or deserve to have a separate nation, even though Russia agreed that Ukraine was a sovereign, separate country in 1994 in a pact with the U.S. and Ukraine, all of which signed. So there is ample legal evidence and factual evidence that it is engaged in war crimes. It is now being investigated by the International Criminal Court, which is the international body respected for determining whether war crimes have occurred. Those prosecutors now have to do the investigation, but I do expect Putin will be indicted like other dictators in the past who've engaged in similar attacks against civilians. He will be indicted by the International Criminal Court for war crimes, in my view.
All right, okay. I think we can all stipulate and agree to the fact that what's happening is horrific. It's unspeakable. And the phrase war crime, I mean, in the common parlance, carries a lot of weight. I mean, it sounds terrible and it sounds serious, and it is obviously doesn't get any more serious. But is this kind of just rhetoric? I mean, how long did it take to bring the Serbian leader Milosevic to trial? How does calling Putin a war criminal help Ukrainians right now who are facing a Russian onslaught?
Well, it's more than just rhetoric. It comes with it a lot of baggage for Putin, and it will be very difficult, no matter what happens in this war, for Putin to be respected as a leader in the future. You look back at 2011, Muammar Gaddafi, who was then the leader of Libya, ordered attacks against civilians in February 2011. By June, he had been indicted by the International Criminal Court for war crimes, as was his son, Saif Gaddafi. Both were tarnished by that label. Gaddafi obviously was killed of just a few months later. Saif is still alive, but is still an accused war criminal, and he'll never be able to get rid of that baggage. So it's not enough to get Putin to stop doing what he's doing, but it's part of an overall effort to condemn him and to have legal ramifications. And he could be arrested if he went to any other country, of which there are about 130 countries that are signatories to the Rome Statute for the International Criminal Court. If he traveled there, he could be arrested if he were indicted by the International Criminal Court, and he could be taken back to The Hague and put on trial for war crimes, which is what should happen and hopefully will happen.
Well, that's a fascinating perspective and something I did not know. So former State Department official and Obama campaign foreign policy advisor David Tafuri, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.